Anyone who has spent time around construction projects knows this. Delays, cost overruns, and disputes are not rare. They are normal. What most clients do not realize is that these problems almost never start on site. They start much earlier, with unclear briefs, incomplete information, weak procurement, and, most importantly, no one clearly responsible for leading the process on the client side. The most common assumption is simple. The architect will manage it, or the contractor will take care of everything. That assumption is where many projects quietly start to fail. This video is for property owners, investors and professionals involved in refurbishments or development projects who want to understand how projects actually succeed in practice, and not just how they are supposed to work in theory. In this video, we will look at projects from 4 angles: structure, procurement, cost control, and risk. We will cover what a project manager really does, where clients typically lose money early, and why proper project management is often the difference between a controlled project and a stressful one. By the end of this video, you should be able to assess whether appointing a project manager makes sense for your type of project. Spoiler, most probably yes, and at what stage it really matters. I am Francesco Fasanella, a chartered project manager. I work in real estate as an advisor, operator, and asset manager, with over 15 years of experience across the UK and Italian property markets. I am co-founder of Habitat Investments, a real estate advisory and development firm, and Habitat Living, an operating company focused on co-living and residential rental assets. One of the most common patterns I see in private construction projects is this. There are capable professionals involved, architects, engineers, contractors, but no one is truly leading the process on behalf of the client. Architects are trained to design. Contractors are trained to build. Neither role is structured to protect your commercial position, manage overall risk, control the program, or coordinate all decisions from a client perspective. This is not a criticism, it is a question of roles. A construction project is not just a technical exercise. It is a commercial, contractual, and organizational process that runs over many months. When that process lacks clear leadership on the client side, decisions become reactive. Risks are discovered late and costs drift before everyone notices. The gap between design, construction, and governance is exactly where professional project management sits. And the first place where this role makes a real, measurable difference is before construction even starts. A lot of people still describe a project manager as the person who keeps an eye on the builder. That description is not just inaccurate, it is actually misleading. A project manager doesn't exist to supervise construction in isolation. A project manager leads the entire project process on behalf of the client from the very beginning to completion. This is where another common assumption breaks down. Many clients think project management only becomes relevant once construction starts. In reality, the earlier the project manager is involved, the more value they add. A project manager is not there to redesign the building or tell the contractor how to build. The role is governance, turning objectives into structure, decisions into process, and uncertainty into managed risk. In practical terms, this means defining a clear brief before design runs too far ahead, coordinating consultants so information is aligned, setting a realistic program, structuring the budget properly, and deciding how the project will actually be procured. Without this structure, projects move forward, but in the wrong order. Design progresses without cost clarity, contractors are asked to price incomplete information, decisions are postponed and then taken under pressure. Procurement is usually the first place where money is lost. Many clients approach procurement thinking it is about getting a few quotes and choosing the cheapest reasonable option. Well, that approach almost guarantees problems later. Procurement is not about price, it is about risk allocation. Who carries design risk? Who carries cost risk? Who carries time risk? And under what contractual structure? When drawings and specifications are incomplete, contractors fill the gaps with assumptions. Those assumptions do not disappear. They return later as variations, claims, and delays. A project manager structures procurement so that prices are based on the same information. Responsibilities are clearly defined and risks are visible before contracts are signed. This is where cost control starts, not when the first invoice arrives. Cost overruns rarely happen in one dramatic moment. They accumulate through small changes, unclear approvals, and weak control. Proper cost control is a continuous process. It means setting a realistic budget from the outset, including fees, contingencies, and allowances, and then tracking change systematically as the project evolves. Without the discipline, clients often believe they are in control until they reach the final account and realize how far the project drift. This is why on many projects, the savings created through structured procurement and disciplined cost control more than justify the fee of a competent project manager. And this still only covers part of the picture. Cost and program are important, but they are not the only risks clients face. Now we are going to look at contracts, quality and risk, because that is where projects are often lost even when the budget looks under control. Once a project is procured and construction starts, many clients feel that the difficult part is over. In reality, this is where a different set of risks begins. One of the most underestimated areas in construction projects is contract administration. Contracts are often treated as paperwork, something to sign and forget. That is a serious mistake. A construction contract only works if it is actively managed. It defines how payments are made, how changes are instructed, how delays are assessed, and how completion is measured. If those mechanisms are not used correctly, even a well-drafted contract becomes ineffective. Many private clients assume the contract administration will naturally be handled by someone else. In practice, it often is not. Instructions are given informally, variations are agreed verbally, and records are incomplete. When disagreements arise, there is no clear reference point. This is where project management plays a critical role, ensuring that contractual procedures are followed, that instructions are issued properly, that changes are placed transparently, and that decisions remain aligned with the agreed structure. But contracts alone do not protect a project if quality and compliance are not controlled. Quality issues rarely come from one single failure. They come from coordination gaps, sequencing problems, and late design information. When issues are discovered too late, fixing them becomes expensive, disruptive, and stressful. Many clients assume that quality control happens naturally on site. It does not. Construction involves multiple trades and interfaces, and without active coordination, defects appear even with competent contractors. Project manager monitors quality continuously, checking that work aligns with drawings and specifications, that information is coordinated, and that problems are addressed before they are covered up or locked in. Compliance adds another layer of risk that is often underestimated. Building regulations, fire safety requirements, planning conditions, and health and safety obligations are not optional. Problems in these areas usually emerge late, sometimes after practical completion, when solutions are costly and disruptive. Early control is always cheaper than late correction. All of this leads to the broader issue of risk management. Every construction project carries risk. Planning risk, technical risk, supply chain risk, cost inflation, and program delay. The difference between a controlled project and a problematic one is not the absence of risk, but how early those risks are identified and managed. Many clients react to risk only once it becomes visible. By then, options are limited. Professional project management treats risk as something to be anticipated, assessed, and managed from the outset. Risks are identified early, responsibilities are assigned, and mitigation strategies are put in place before problems materialize. When risks are managed early, they remain manageable. When they are ignored, they turn into disputes. This is why project management is not just about keeping a project organized. It is about protecting the client's position across contracts, quality and risk, long before issues become visible on site. When you put all of this together, one point becomes clear. Construction projects do not fail mainly because of lack of effort or competence. They fail because responsibility is fragmented and decisions are taken without a clear governance structure. This is why professional standards matter, not as bureaucracy, but as a way to create predictability. In the UK, project management is a recognized professional discipline. It exists to ensure that projects are driven by structure, process, and accountability, rather than assumptions and informal arrangements. Standards matter because they define how programs are set, how costs are controlled, how contracts are administered, and how risks are managed. Without standards, projects rely on goodwill. With standards, they rely on governance. Another source of confusion in many projects is the overlap of roles. Architects design buildings, contractors build them. Both are essential, and both are highly specialized roles, but neither is responsible for protecting the client's overall position. Neither role is designed to manage the entire process from a commercial, contractual, and risk perspective. That responsibility sits with the project manager. The project manager connects design decisions to cost, program, and risk. They coordinate the team, manage contracts, control change, and ensure that decisions are taken in the right order and for the right reasons. Without their role, even good professionals tend to work in silos. And when projects are run in silos, problems appear at the interface, not necessarily in the individual components. A project manager is not an additional layer of cost. A project manager is the mechanism that turns a collection of tasks into a control process. Control reduces uncertainty. Structure protects value. If you are planning a refurbishment, an extension, or a development project, the question is not whether you can build without a project manager. Many people do. The real question is whether you are comfortable carrying the risk that comes with doing so. If these topics are relevant to you can find more information in the description. And if you're interested in practical insights on project delivery, development management, and real estate decision making in the UK, consider subscribing to the channel.